Employment relationship and procedures. Employment relationship is a contractual agreement between an employer and a worker. It is a legal enforceable agreement. Tort is a private civil wrong. Employment, the render of a personal service by one person on behalf of another in return for compensation. Agency, a contractual relationship involving an agent and a principal, in which the agent is given the authority to represent the principal in dealing with the third party. A worker may either be an employee or an independent contractor. Knowing the difference of the two is very important, as this can affect compensation, benefits, harassment, family leave, workmen's compensation, unemployment, and discrimination. If it is an employer to independent contractor is an individual hired by an employer to perform a specific task. If it's an independent contractor employer has no control over what the independent contractor does. Disadvantages of being an independent contractor. You get no paid vacations, no sick time, no personal leave, no insurance such as health, life, or unemployment, no taxes are withheld or workman's compensation. The IRS has a 20-factor test that determines if it's an independent contractor or an employer. This has behavioral control, financial control, and relationship type questions to determine. Behavioral control is determined by who has ultimate control over performance of assignment of the job, where, when, and how the work is performed, the purchase of tools, equipment, and supplies, the methods used to complete the task, the hiring of additional help, whether training is provided. If employer controls, then they are employees, and if worker controls, they are independent contractors. Financial control is determined by a number of factors including when the worker is paid by the job, even if it includes hourly pay such as attorney fees, you are considered an independent contractor, and you are considered an employee if you're paid a wage or a salary. You are an employee if they withhold taxes and payment of unemployment or workman's compensation insurance. You are an independent contractor if not. Employees work for one employer and independent contractors work for many employers. Independent contractors are in a business for themselves and employees are not. Employee compensation is fixed and independent contractors are not. Independent contractor is an individual hired by an employer to perform a specific task. If it's an independent contractor employer has no control over what the independent contractor does. Duties of the employees an independent contractor is the duty to loyalty, duty to the action in good faith, duty to account. Duties of employees and independent contractors. The duty of loyalty is an employee has the duty to inform, to obey instructions, and to protect confidential information. Duty to act in good faith. The employee or independent contractor must carry out the task assigned by using reasonable skill and care. Duty to account requires an employee or independent contractor to make a full disclosure known as an accounting of all receipts and expenditures. Employers have duties also. They have the duty to compensate, which the employer has the duty to pay the employee or independent contractor for the work they did. Then they have the duty to maintain safe working conditions, which is provided by guidelines from OSHA. Non-compete agreement. This agreement is a contract wherein the employee promises not to work for a competitor or open a competing business of a type in which the employer transacts business. Non-disclosure agreements are restrictions of an employee from the sale or use of trade secrets, confidential information, and/or a work in progress that has commercial value or will result in harm to the employer. Samples of non-compete and non-disclosure agreements are that the employees will refrain from 1 year after leaving a company conducting business that would place the employee in competition with the company, or work for an employer that is in the competition with the company, entice co-workers and/or customers to cease their relationship with companies, and disclose to a competitor of the company any confidential information belonging to or pertaining to the company. Injunction is an equitable remedy that prevents a party who breaches a contract from rendering the same performance. Tort liability. An employer is liable for any tort his or her employee commits if the tort is committed within the scope of employment. On the other hand, an employer is not liable for torts committed by independent contractors, even if that tort is committed in the scope of employment, because as an independent contractor, the employer has no control over them.